Hello, hello. Getting any alerts and stuff? Hey, 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 hey. Doo-doo-doo. Let me put the screen behind me, guys. Which one we gonna do first? I wish you could see it better. See, that's why I don't like doing this. Why I want to do the other screen, but I can't. My everything is acting up today. My music acting up. My stand acting up. You can't read what's in back of me. It's all right. We're going to get it together. We're going to get it together. Come on in, you guys. Tap, 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 tap. And share. Share, share, share. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're going to talk about the 4 agreements. I don't know if you guys were watching when you came in. But it was that's what we're talking about. It's a book. It was written by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm not going to like break the book down, or I'm gonna break the 4 agreements down and what I believe them to be. I'm gonna do them one at a time. The first one is be impeccable with your words. That's the one I'm gonna talk about first. I wanted to play some music for you guys, but I changed my setup around, and in doing so, I didn't hook everything up right, and my son is busy. So we're not gonna have no music. I was just gonna play it until we get more people in. So can you guys tap, 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 tap the screen, share the live if you haven't done so already. The 4 agreements. First, we're gonna talk about be impeccable with your word, and what I believe it to mean, you know, and what I think we can do. And what I think we can do, you know, to get to where we need to be. The whole purpose of this is to transform your life, to become enlightened, right? More in tune. So the 4 agreements, I believe it was written in 1997, 96, 97, one of those. But again, this is not a book review. It's just a kind of breakdown of what the 4 agreements mean to me. And if you have any questions, or you have any response, or, you know, how you feel, that's fine. Place it right there in the comments and we will talk about it. So as I said before, it was written by Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's from Toltec wisdom, and that's it's a Mexican culture. So I'm not gonna infringe on anyone's beliefs or anything like that. That's why I'm gonna break it down to what I feel it to believe. You know, don't want to take any chances. Anything get you canceled nowadays, okay? So what the 4 agreements are is be impeccable with your word. That's one. Another one is don't take anything personally, and don't make assumptions. Always do your best is the last one. And I haven't perfected it, but I am, you know, doing it every day and becoming better and better at doing it every day. But this first one, be impeccable with your word, you can't read it, so I'm gonna read it because I do have it on this other phone. So I'm gonna read the first one off. So be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Hey, speak with integrity. Let me mod you up too. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Hello, hello. It is amazing. Yeah, it is. Use the power of your word to offer love. Never use it to cause fear or pain in another or yourself. Be impeccable with your words. In many cultures, in many religions, they tell you your words have power. They tell you that there is life and death in your words. So you could actually be speaking a word over something, right? So you have to be careful with what you put out in the universe, because when you speak it, you put it out in the universe. Once you say it, it's out in the universe. When you think it, that's a within thing, right? Only you know that you're thinking it. No one else knows. But once it leaves your mouth, once it's said, it's out there, right? And even if no person has heard you, the universe heard you. So you've put it out there. So if you be impeccable with your words, right? If you speak positive and not negative, this is what you're putting. This is the energy then that you're calling to yourself. You would be calling positive energy to yourself. You have to tell, you have to encourage yourself, right? Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Those are positive reinforcements that you give yourself when you encourage yourself. So when we're impeccable with our words, you ever heard, it's a Bible scripture, but a lot of people use it as a saying, right? When you dig one ditch, dig two, because the ditch you dug, you may have dug for you. Well, that's the same thing with your words. Sometimes we can speak a word, we can say something, and we could be being negative over someone else, right? And karma, bring it back to us and catch us with it, or even to the point of being dishonest. You ever known people to lie and say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to do a certain thing because I don't feel good, right? But it's not that they sick. Say you guys were supposed to go out together, go do something, right? Shopping, lunch, whatever. And the person don't want to go anymore, like they agreed to go and they don't want to go anymore, and so they'll say, oh, I can't go because I don't feel good, right? And then sometimes they turn out to really get sick. So that I equate being impeccable with your word to that, right? Be careful. Be careful what you say. Things have a way of coming back to you. Even your words. I know, we believe that a lot of our actions, the things that we do, can turn around and come back to us. I know we tend to believe that. We tend to feel like that. But also, things that you say can turn around and come back to you. So if you are mindful, a good way also to be impeccable with your words is really to think before you speak. It's important. If you think before you speak, a lot of the times we wouldn't say some of the things that we say so sometimes you can say something, but the way you say it, or even your word choice, or in the timing that you say it, will change the entire meaning of what you're saying. I mean, and sometimes the change of the removal of a word or just adding a word, that alone in itself could change an entire sentence. Just by either adding a word or removing a word or changing a word. So if we think before we speak, then we would do exactly that. Rise in affliction is huge in communication. Yes, absolutely. We become, and then you become also aware. You become aware because sometimes during heightened emotions, whichever way it is, good or bad, during times of heightened emotions, you could say things. You could say things, right? And you could wish you could take them, wish I could take those words back. But you can't, right? You can't. And a lot of people like to think sometimes when you think something, it's just as bad as saying it, but it's not, because you're not putting it in the universe, right? So if you think first before you say something and you switch it up based on thinking about it first, that's not bad. It's okay to do that. It's actually pretty smart. It's pretty smart to do it, because if you really think about it, when your emotions are running really high, you'll say some really bad things, or you'll get emotional and even commit to some things that you may, not really want to commit to, but you're in an emotional state, right? I used to be a pastor. And what I noticed about pastors, and it was one of the things that I promised to never do, the charismatic part of them, they get you heightened, and that's when the hey, I'm good, and that's when the offering plates would come around, right? You get heightened, you get in a heightened sense, whether they tell you the spirit is moving, whatever it is, or you're crying. That's the best time, right, to send the offering plates around. Hey, how you doing? So it's a manipulation. It is, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, I'm good. I don't want to do this, because it is a manipulation, and pastors are not. It is. Is it you or me? Because it could be me. Pastors are not the only ones. So yeah, it might really be me. Am I being reported, or? Because I don't know how or why y'all would want to be reporting me right now. So pastors are not the only ones who, utilize those types of manipulation tactics based on your emotional state, right? They'll do that to you based on your emotional state. Politicians will utilize your emotional state. Not you. I don't think you're reporting me. Politicians will utilize your emotional state. Your loved ones will utilize your emotional state. And sometimes it's done subconsciously, right? They're not setting out to use you or do you any harm sometimes. But it's done consciously as well. And I even say to those things, they are just as bad, because you put those words out there like that. And even though you're using them as a manipulation tactic, it'll come back to you. I believe it really will come back to you. So if we practice being positive in our words, in our actions, then not only do it become like second nature, it becomes a part of you, right? It's not just you start off by saying it, telling yourself to do it, right? So you're teaching yourself when you're practicing, but then you start to believe it and you put it into work and do it, right? And so then it becomes that's what you do. I no longer have to tell myself in the morning to speak words of affirmation to myself. I know to do it now, right? I trained myself to speak words of affirmation. I don't know if you guys ever looked at any of my old content, but some of the very first things that I did on TikTok was get up every morning. Hey, I'm good, thank you. Was get up every morning and I would look in the mirror and I would talk to myself. I would speak words of affirmation, encouragement to myself. But I used to have to remind myself to do that, right? I got to a point where I no longer had to remind myself to do it. It became second nature. It was automatic, right? And that's what it was. So don't take anything personally. This one is a big one, because a lot of times we'll think people talking to us or about us, and it has nothing to do with us, and that's because we've taken it personal. So if we get into the practice of not taking things personally, right? Nothing others do is because of you. I like this one. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a result of their own dream or perception of their rules. We all make rules about how things should be, but when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. I like that. I'm going to read that again. So when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So with this, don't take anything personally. This right here, over these last, 9 months, 8, 9 months, this has been something that's been very powerful to me. Don't take anything personally. There's a lot going on. People do a lot of things, and sometimes you believe that it's because of you or because of something that you have done. You have to stop doing that. We have to learn. A lot of people do things based on their experiences. A lot of people say things based on their experiences. Even if someone is jealous of you, it's not nothing that you did, right? Has nothing to do with anything that you did. It's something in them. More than likely, when a person is jealous of you, it is because they lack something that you have. Therefore, they want something that you possess. And it could be a smile, it could be your voice, your hair, whatever. But most of the time, when people are jealous of you, it is that. It is because of something that they lack, right? So why would you and I take something personal, right? Why should we take something personal from someone who is lacking something that we have? They're lacking something that we have. So why would I take that personal? Why should I take that personal? There's no debit in me. It's you, right? That has the problem. It's you. So since you have the problem, seems like a you problem, right? Not a me problem. We get so caught up in what people think about us, right? We get so caught up in how people view us and see us, or if people are talking about us. Thank you guys for the gifts, by the way. What people are saying about us. We get so caught up in that. Do you realize that when we do that, we lose who we are? You lose who you are when you do that, because what you end up doing is you end up allowing someone else to dictate to you who you are and how you're going to respond, right? Hey, this is what you end up doing. And so we have to be careful with that. And since I modded you too, just in case you didn't see it, we have to be careful with that, because here's one of the things. If you've ever been in a long-term relationship, or if you have children, one of the things you should notice, you lose yourself. You lose yourself. I was talking to Pressure. I know you was a mod. You lose yourself when you do that. You become everything for someone else. And so then you lose yourself because you've taken things personally. You've taken things personally. And this is what we can't do. We can't take things personal. Someone has a problem with you, that is a them problem, not your problem. Hey, how are you? And so we should practice being able to not take things so personally. The next one is don't make assumptions. So to me, these two go hand in hand. Don't take things personally and don't make assumptions. To me, they go hand in hand with one another. So don't make assumptions says, find the quiet courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Don't make assumptions. This is very big because making assumptions is a huge part of communication, right? It plays a very large part in communication. When we assume someone means something by something they did or said, rather than getting clarity, of what's being said or what's being done, I've seen friendships lost because of things like that. Someone will do something or say something and you took it a certain way, and we make assumptions a lot based on what we're going through and how we're feeling, right? So any other day, you could say something like, the color black, I don't like the color black. But see, I have on black today. So if you say that today, then I may take that personal. Like, what you mean? I have on black. So I'm making an assumption that you're talking to or about me and the black that I have on. That's an assumption when I could just clearly say to you, when you say something like that, I could just clearly say, are you talking to me? Like, dude, is there something wrong with my black, you know? And we tend to not do that because a lot of times people don't want to be confrontational, right? And what we need to learn to do is separate inquiring about something from confrontation, or disagreeing as confrontation. What happened? Shut up. As confrontation. We do that a lot. Just because someone disagrees with you does not mean they're opposition or that they're looking to be confrontational with you. We shouldn't all think the same. We shouldn't all believe the same. We shouldn't all behave the same in some areas. Like, you know, certain things just should be across the board. But you understand what I'm saying, I hope. If not, don't make assumptions. Ask the question that needs to be asked. I don't think that we should be so hard on questions, on people that ask questions or have questions, because a lot of the times, now, you know, there are some questions that are just probing, but a lot of the times people just want clarity. Definitely, no matter how much any two people agree, most of the time they won't agree all the time. Exactly. People sometimes just want clarity. And me personally, with what you're saying, I don't want to be surrounded by people that always agree with me or we're always in agreement, right? Because I'm not being challenged. And if I'm not being challenged, I could think that I'm doing the right thing and not be doing the right thing just because I'm not being challenged. That is bad. That's bad too, right? So I want people around me that'll push me to the limit when it comes to conversations, you know, without it being combative, without it being confrontational, with it just being healthy conversation, so that no assumptions have to be made, because assumptions are bad. Right, without being challenged or getting the past. It's a deep thought. I'm gonna get to that too. I'm gonna get to enlightenment and being aware, self-aware. I'm gonna get to those things. Listen, don't surround yourself. I would advise, absolutely, I would advise that you never surround yourself with people that are always going to agree with you. It is dangerous, right? Because even when you're wrong, if they won't say that you're wrong, you'll go on doing one or two things. Truly believing that you're not doing wrong, or building a environment where you can do wrong and not be challenged on it. And that is very dangerous. It's very dangerous, and it's unrealistic because you're not living in a realistic place, right? Because your group, those that surround you, may not call you out, right? But everybody is not like the people that surround you. And then this is where a lot of problems come in, because Here it goes. You in a group of people who always let you do what you're doing, say what you're saying. Nobody offers a challenge to you. The moment you're not in that group of people and someone challenges you, you feel like it's a real live like challenge. Like it's opposition and they're lying on you or believe you're a liar. Because you've been in this environment where you've been allowed, where you've been allowed to be who you are, good or bad. Good or bad. So once you're not in that environment, you're feeling picked on, even. And so y'all, I love this. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got two good things that were said in these comments, and I'm going to read them off. Healthy conversation and having someone to disagree with you provides the opportunity for growth. I love that. And then confirmation bias enables ignorance. And it does. It does. And I love it. And I love when y'all interact with me. It's good. So don't make assumptions. Ask questions. Have healthy conversations, right? One or two things with me. If you say something that I don't like and we're cool, I'm going to say something. I'm going to ask a question or I'm going to go off, one or the other, right? If you say something that I like or don't like and I don't know you and we're not cool, one or two things. I may respond and I may not respond because I don't have to respond, right? We don't know one another. So you may get either or in that case, right? It's also okay to change your mind and to say, I reconsider. Oh yeah, that absolutely. So listen, here's the thing. I've always said to myself, I'm open to corrective criticism, right? I'm open to it, right? And when I know something and I feel like I know that I know, here's what I say. Don't argue with me. Prove me wrong. And that's not a challenge and that's not being facetious. It's being truthful because based on my studies, based on what I've done, based on what I know, right? I'm correct in what I'm saying. I'm correct in how I'm behaving, right? So if I am incorrect, prove me to be incorrect. Don't argue. It's not worth it. And even if say you have someone, use critical thinking that way. You can better understand the message that is being true. A lot of people don't even understand what critical thinking is. That's the next part, the next danger in conversation, because a lot of people don't have the ability to critically think. Even you yourself, if somebody is saying that you're wrong and you know inside of you and you feel with all your heart that you're correct, don't argue. Just tell them. Prove me wrong. Why do you believe I'm wrong? What do you know that I don't know? Or maybe what I know, I've misunderstood it, right? This opens up dialogue and it's a learning opportunity. Exactly. That's all you have to do. So we're not making assumptions, right? We're not making assumptions. Okay, and the last one, and then I'm gonna get into breaking it down. And the last one is do your best. Always do your best. And I don't know about you, but I know for me, I heard throughout my childhood, always do your best. We shouldn't be stubborn to apologize. That's pride right there. And a lot of people are very prideful or embarrassed. Sometimes you could go on believing something and believing that it was right and what you know is what you know. And you're invested, and sometimes you can get so invested in that now you're too embarrassed to turn back. You're too embarrassed to turn around. I've watched this happen in relationships. I've watched this happen in relationships. And in these relationships, you feel invested, right? You see all the red flags. All the red flags are there. But you are so invested that you feel you could change that person or change that person's mind or change the situation. So you don't want to turn back. One, you don't want to be wrong. Two, you don't want to have wasted your time, the time that you invested. You don't want to, oh no, I didn't waste that time, right? So with that, you just keep going along to get along. That happens. Yeah. You're speaking to somebody who's married for 30 years and 12 of those years were just really wasted. It was wasted time because 12 years prior to actually leaving, I knew it was over. It was obvious, right? But I didn't want to give up them 18 years that I had invested. So things are going to change. Things are going to get better, right? We do this to ourselves time and time and time again. We do this to ourselves. And that's because of pride and not wanting to be, wrong and feeling we can change things when you look back on it. You want a refund? I wish. See, so that's why I am the way I am. If you've ever heard me speak, you've heard me say time and time again, when it comes to money, I don't cherish money like I cherish time. Money I can get back. Time, I can never regain my time. I can never, tomorrow can never be today. It's always behind me. I can never get it back. So my time is more valuable to me because that's something that I can't get back. You ask me for $5, you don't give it back to me, I could get $5 another way, right? Even if you don't give me my $5 back, right? You ask me for my time and you waste my time, I can never get that back. It's never coming back to me. That time is gone and it's lost. So, yes, when it comes to my time, I do not play. But let's read what it says about always do your best. So always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will differ. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Always do your best. One of the things when I began to know that it was over, one of the things that I started evaluating was, had I done my best, right? Had I done my best to save it? Had I done everything humanly possible to make sure that I wasn't at fault and I wasn't wrong? Did I do my very best to make my marriage work? I really did. I took inventory to make sure, to see. And part of how I ended up staying, not for 12, but for 2 of those 12, was I noticed that I had counseling. I went to counseling. The kids went to counseling, but he never went to counseling, right? So I gave him 2 years. You need to get some help. You need to see someone, even if you don't see him with me. I would like for you to see someone by yourself, see someone with me, and see someone with the kids. Like, do a family thing, because we're all broken. And if you've ever watched my content, you know why. I'm not going to go into that. So since we're all broken, we need something, right? What can we do? How can we fix this? And so I gave 2 years for him to know that not only did I do my best, but he was trying to do his best. And so what what it turned out to be, yeah, they're not willing to. And that's what I was just about to say. What it ended up being was everybody wanted to change but him. And so the decision had to be made. Was it worth it? And I lollygagged and prolonged the lollygag. And so that's why I have that time that I can't get back. But my whole entire reasoning for staying was I didn't think I did my best in that one area. I didn't think that I did my best. That has been a staple. Even before I had ever read this book, knew anything about it. Would have been a staple in my life. My parents, my grandparents, in school, in whatever you did you do your best? That was always the question. Did you do your best? Not, did you pass? Not, did you do good? Did you do your best? That was what mattered. So it was a staple in the household, and it just passed on. Did you do your best? I don't care that you got a C on the test as long as I know you did your best. And what we have to understand is our best, what we believe to be our best or the best, is not the same thing for the next person, right? Let's just speak educationally. For some people, doing your best is going through college, not to college, through college, right? At least a bachelor's degree. For some people, I need a master's degree. For some people, I need a doctorate, whichever kind, MD, PhD, right? So how do you others to understand that you mean the best? By telling them. So that was one of the other things that we talked about, to not make assumptions and to have communication. That was one of the other things. It's a part of the 4 agreements. To not make assumptions, have communications. So you actually have to converse that. You have to say that. You have to, I've seen people say, I'm doing the best I can, just in passing. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Well, I'm doing the best that I can. That's not convincing. And that, that's a problem, because I don't think you're doing the best you can, especially not even with the way you said it, right? So you have to have good, open communication, sound communication, so that when you say that you're doing your best, it is believable. And then you have to be ready to back it. When it came to my children in testing, my daughter never did bad. A student all the way through school, so I can't use her. But with my sons, my middle 2 boys, they would get bad grades sometimes. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. What happened? So it wasn't just I did my best. What did you do? What did your best look like? Because you can't tell me you had a science test and you didn't do any studying that you did your best. That's not going to match up. Your words have to match what you actually did. Your words saying I did my best has to match the actions. If it doesn't match, then naturally it's not truthful. It's not truthful. No worries. So make sure when you say that you did your best, that you actually tried and you actually did your best, because you may be challenged on that, right? You may be challenged on that. So you have to make sure that you actually did your best. So now let's get into what he really talked about with talking about the 4 dang, that's a weird name. What he talked about when he talked about the 4 agreements was that we're living in a dream, right? We're living in a dream state, right? And it's one of 2 things with the dream state that we're living in. Either it's a dream that we're having, so it's like an illusion, or it's us being told how to feel, how to move, right? How to walk, how to talk. Programmed, right? A lot of us lived a lot of our lives programmed. If you have ever been a part of any organized religion, you were programmed, period. Just if you don't know, your kids pledging allegiance to the flag is programming them, right? These are things that program you. Television can program you. You can be programmed. And so if you're programmed, you're in a dream state, right? You're in a dream state. You're not really in reality. You're not living up to you and to who you are if you're living in that state. It says your world is made up of labels, concepts, and beliefs. Just talks about organized religion. Yep, programmed to believe what someone else wanted you to believe. And those are illusions. Labels, concepts, beliefs, they're illusions. So you're living in a dream. Break that cycle. You have to break that cycle. The dream has been programmed into you through words. It's like training you, like I said. Pledge allegiance, right? It's like training you. That gets in you. Remember we talked about being impeccable with your words and how your words have meaning? That is programming. These types never had a chance simply because they seek acceptance to the same ones indoctrinated. Absolutely. And it says here, words that come from your parents, your teachers, your religious leaders, your communities, your peers, right? How many of us grew up either having people that we could tell to do something or being the one that could be told to do something? I was a leader, so I was always telling people what to do, right? But how many of us have done things because of what the group was doing? And I'm not talking about in your woke life and in your woke being now, right now you too woke for that, right? Can't nobody pull that over on you right now. Go back to your teens. Go back to your early 20s. How many times have you did things just because the people that you were with was doing it? That's the influence that they had over you, right? We could even get into the crowd thing, right? Have you ever watched, and it's been proven so many times, if a crowd is running towards you, how many times without question you're going to turn and run with the crowd? Having never asked a question, not a single question, but because the crowd is running, you're running also. I've watched that happen, and it was a trick. Like 20, 30 people were in on it, and it was a trick. Just to show that this is what people do. You ever paid attention to mob mentality? You and I, we own this thing. Yeah? To mob mentality. That's what mob mentality is. It's mob mentality. Same concept. So what we want is we want to be free thinkers. We want to be free thinkers, right? Oh, Lord, for real. So, wake up. Wake up right now. Paying for a cruise. Don't like cruises. Family reunion. See? There you go. Because what? The whole family doing it, so you feel obligated to do it as well, even though you don't like cruises, and then you paying money to do it. I use a free example of just turning around and running because people were running. You're actually investing. You're investing in what you're doing. So with the wake up situation, but if the crowd is running, I'm probably gonna with the wake up situation, let's become enlightened. This part right here with this part, this is my own thoughts. These are my own words. You will never believe how much food consumption has to do with being enlightened. Check out It was something written called Food for Your Mood, right? I want you to check that out, and How to Eat to Live. How to Eat to Live. Check those two things out about food. Hello, hey, how you doing? Check those things out about food. It will blow your mind. Healthy food intake can help you concentrate. You can concentrate better. You live better. You even feel lighter. You don't feel so sluggish, so tired all the time, right? Our bodies, you read it? Yeah. It's old. It's by Elijah Muhammad. Our bodies were not built to consume the chemicals in the medication and in the food that we're intaking. And sadly, most of the medication that's being taken is because of the food consumption, what you're consuming. A lot of food have carcinogenics in it. That causes cancer, right? There are so many deadly things in the food that we eat, to where the body that we live in, that came from the earth, the body that we live in, right? That should be able to intake the things that the earth provides to heal and to make nutritious our bodies. But because of what we're putting into our bodies, and I'm not talking about drugs and alcohol, that's another thing. Food-wise, real life, what's in the food that we eat? We have to put more chemicals in our body because we need to be, they don't make you cured. You know, they never say they cure you. They just make you as healthy as possible. They treat. So I can't say cured because medication is not to cure. It's to treat. Always know that. Always have that in mind. And if there's something that you're taking medication for that you can do something healthy to replace, that's what I did. I'm not a doctor, so I can't, I got to be careful with the things I say. But for me, I started doing vitamins. I have the Dr. Seavy's book, and I don't 100% do it. I won't lie to you and tell you that I do. I have Dr. Seavy's book. I started doing the smoothies and the shakes that are in that book, right? How we prepare. Yes, absolutely. I started, even with what you prepare your food in, the dishes, the chemicals that are in the things that we utilize day to day. All those things work against us being natural. All those things work against us being natural, believe it or not. You beat the lotion that you put on your body. You absorb it. The makeup. So no, it's not just food, but food is one of the largest, the easiest ways that chemicals enter our bodies. Deadly chemicals. Sent you a page that lists all the social experiments which are undermined. Yeah. I had to study. I didn't probably study exactly what you're talking about, but I had to study mob mentality when all this stuff broke out because I just couldn't understand what was going on, and I had never faced anything like that. So I really had to study mob mentality. Listen, these are non-stick coatings alone. Chemicals. It's all chemicals. Do you realize, my mother told me something years ago. My mother told me something. She said, there are 7, you probably know a few of them. Oh, you're talking about what we talking about? My mother told me something years ago, I'm sorry. Meat tenderizer. She was like, why would you put meat tenderizer on your food? If it tenderizes the meat, you don't think it tenderizes your gut? If you're going to eat meat that needs to be tenderized, tenderize it. Don't add nothing to it to do it. Do it naturally. And I never thought of that. And so I don't use meat tenderizer. I use a mallet naturally, or just cook it in the oven long enough. Things you don't think of, things that you just go on. And so I don't drink soda. I haven't drank soda in, what is this, in like 8 years. I don't drink soda at all. I'm sure that. Yeah. Don't. Absolutely don't. Be careful. Be mindful of what you put into your body. Be mindful. You'd be surprised. Your level of sweat, the smell of your sweat, all of that stuff would change. All of that stuff would change. Based on what you eat, based on what you drink, the things you put in your body can change. It's a chemical imbalance. It's a chemical imbalance. And that's what happens to your body. And that's how it ends up being thrown off, and you end up with these illnesses and stuff like that because of the chemical imbalance. Okay. Let me change this background real quick, guys. I'm just going to put this one behind me, right? Okay, so now, basically, your journey starts with awareness. Lotion make your own with cocoa butter. I'm allergic to shea butter, believe it or not. I am highly allergic, and it took me some time to figure out what it was that I was allergic to. And I think it's something that happened later on because I never had the problem when I was younger. I actually think after I had surgery, a specific surgery, I became allergic to shea butter because before that, I didn't have a problem. So, but that's one of the things. My daughter makes lotion and I can't use what she makes because of that. She makes soap as well. So awareness. With your journey starts with awareness. Seeing the dream and its illusions for what they are. Maintain a heightened sense of awareness. It's the only true gateway to enlightenment. How you become aware, how you awaken your senses, that's up to you. I'm not going to tell you that. Okay, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm not going to tell you how to do that because some people utilize religious beliefs, spirituality, whichever one you want to use. Me, I started doing meditation. Used to be prayer. Now it's I still pray, but not in the same way. I started utilizing meditations. Let me tell you something. When I have paid attention to the food that I consume, when I've paid attention to the food that I've consumed and I meditate, I'm sharper. My mind is so much sharper. I can feel things. Like, you know how sometimes you walk in a room and there's animosity in the room and you say, hello. You say, the air is thick in here because you can feel it because it's an energy that's been released and you can feel that energy that's been released. When you really take time to meditate and pay attention to what you consume, your awareness is off the chain. You almost feel psychic. You almost feel psychic because it's like you're so light, right? And you're so aware. Words, you pick up on words, you pick up on movement, you know, things that you normally wouldn't pay attention to. When you spiritually in tuned, a lot of things won't get past you. Even if you don't say anything, you know when you're spiritually in tune. You know. So the food you eat, that teaches meditation. It's really good. The food you eat has a big impact on your ability to concentrate, right? A huge impact, because you're not foggy, you're not bogged down, you're not heavy, and you move faster too. You think faster, and you think clearer. So you have to be aware of what you're putting in your body. And I know a lot of people, oh, I don't want to be a label reader and noticing what isn't being said. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it really becomes a read the room type of situation. You really can read the room. Sometimes I've been so enlightened sometimes that it's scary. Like, I know what's about to happen, like right before it happened. That's scary. It's scary. But when you really get comfortable with it, it becomes a part of you. Any suggestions for those who can't afford fresh food? So for me, it's hard. If you can't afford fresh food, it's really hard. Because more than likely, if you can't afford fresh food, you can't afford vitamins. Because if you can't get the fresh food you need, but you have the vitamins, it kind of offsets, right? It kind of offsets. But in these times, when everything is high and for whatever reason, things with the least amount of ingredients in it cost more. Never understood that. How is it that I can get a cucumber? The cucumber cost me 89 cents, right? Cucumber 89 cents. But I could go get something totally bad for me for 35 cents. No good for me. How is that? All that's in the cucumber is the cucumber. That's it. It didn't need a factory to make it. Why do you think that is? You want me to help you with that one? Big Pharma needs you sickly. Big Pharma needs you sickly. Because if you're not sickly, they're not treating. Doctors don't cure, they treat. We have to come to the understanding. They don't cure, they treat. And so, as long as they can treat, they stay happy because they bottom line stay not so bottom, right? And so they stay happy. So they don't want you to be able to purchase food for low cost that's good for you, that'll keep you healthy. Begin to garden yourself. And I'm not talking about no mass garden, no big old, I ain't telling you go out there, plant 10 acres. I'm not saying that. Start off small as possible with the easiest things as possible. Tomatoes, cucumbers, stuff like that. Start off like that, because even if you cannot be 100% healthy, you can reverse a lot of things just by starting to eat healthy, cutting certain things out of your diet. Sugar especially. Listen, I don't know if you guys ever seen the study. There are studies done that shows they use mice when they do it. A mice brain on sugar and a mouse brain on sugar and a mouse brain on cocaine. Which one you think lit up the most? Blow your mind. Sugar. Sugar is more addicting than cocaine. It's been proven. Many studies have been done to show sugar is more addicting than cocaine. Sugar is bad for you. It is bad for you. And if you cut out sugar, you'd be surprised. When I first stopped drinking soda, I'll never forget it. You were hooked? Yeah, I'll never forget when I first stopped drinking soda. Listen, I stopped drinking soda in the first 4 days. First of all, I only used to drink Pepsi, either regular Pepsi or cherry Pepsi. Only soda I used to drink. And cherry Pepsi was my absolute favorite, right? Within 4 days, I lost 15 pounds. 15 pounds. Within 4 days, I stopped drinking soda. 4 days, 15 pounds were gone. Just that easy. Ain't no walk. There was no walking, no exercising. It was literally cut out the soda and boom, there you have it. 15 pounds gone. You hooked again. I was hooked. Yes. Picking the coke. Yeah, you got a headache. I did get a headache because of the caffeine. You know it's because of the caffeine. Because of the caffeine, I did get a headache. I had like a 2-day headache, but it was worth it though. It was worth it. And from that day, I don't drink soda. I don't drink soda, and very little juice. If I drink some juice, it's with something, and it's probably once, twice a month tops. The only juice I get is from my fruit, my actual fresh fruit intake. It is hard. It is. Yeah. Oh, and 04. Wow. Okay. So now, when you're aware, awareness leads to forgiveness. And I'm not talking about just the forgiving of other people, right? I'm talking about the forgiving of yourself. We are harder on ourselves than anyone else could ever be on us. We're our own selves' worst critics. Very, very hard. So I use raw sugar in coffee. I really do. I think it was my weakness until I realized it's dropping my blood sugar in the 60s. Whoa. Wow. Wow. So with awareness, it comes understanding and it comes forgiveness, right? You have to forgive yourself. A lot of us think about the things that we did coming up when we were younger. We think about that. And we hold ourselves to this standard. And when I say younger, I don't always mean a child or teenage years. I mean younger. Like, you do things in your 40s that you won't do in your 50s more than likely. You do things in your 30s that you won't do in your 40s more than likely. You do things in your 20s that you won't do in your 30s more than likely, right? That's just how it is. But you have to forgive yourself, because a lot of the things that we do and the mistakes that we make are based on the knowledge that we have and the things that we've been taught, right? And so it goes to that saying, when you know better, you do better. So as you age, a lot of the times, you know, some people mature far quicker than others, but more than likely, as you age, you change. What's important to you change. Your priorities change, right? The things you like and don't like change. All these things change as you age. And so things that were acceptable 5 years ago may not be acceptable today. Or you tweaked it and changed it to better it. We should always be looking to make ourselves better. Better ourselves. Listen, another saying. You have 6 months to mind your business and 6 months to leave everybody else's business alone, right? Now, when I'm saying that to you, I'm saying if you're always working on yourself, to better yourself, and not because of what people think about you, right? Because we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But because of what you think of you, right? You should be changing based on your self-awareness, based on what you learn about self. That's when you should be changing, not based on what someone has told you about yourself. Now, people can tell you about yourself and it can enlighten you to some things and behaviors that you didn't know that you had. I won't ever say that that's not true, because sometimes you can behave. In my purse upstairs. Yeah, it's the little brown purse. It's in the black purse, but in the little brown wallet. I'm sorry. So if you change like that, that's different. I'm not downing that. I'm not saying don't take any advice from anywhere. Don't take any corrective criticism from anywhere. What I'm saying is, if a change needs to be made, it's a change that you have to realize. You have to realize it, right? Not the next person. You have to realize it. So when they tell you it, if you self-examine when you're being told about yourself, if you self-examine, you should, if you're being honest with yourself. A lot of us aren't honest with ourselves. If you're being honest with yourself, when you self-examine, if something is wrong, make the change. Make the change. There's nothing, listen, I had a conversation with my son, with one of my sons, and he told me, and this was probably 2 months ago or so, and he was like, I don't know who you are anymore. This is what he told me, right? And it wasn't in a bad sense. It was just he noticed that I was doing things that I had never done before. I was saying things that I had never said before. He noticed they changed in me, right? And I had to be honest with him and tell him, you know what, I'm getting to know me too right now. I'm getting to know me too right now. Because being as caring as I was got me in a lot of trouble, right? Wanting to see others changed got me in a lot of trouble. So now I'm more self-aware. And based on that awakening, I'm making changes. So I'm not behaving the same. I'm not talking the same. I'm not moving the same. And he noticed that. And so he called it out. Not like it was a bad thing, but like, hey, I noticed this, right? So don't ever be afraid to change. Don't ever feel like you're too old to change, right? And please don't ever feel like you're too old to learn. Because I believe that every day of our lives, every day, we should learn at least one new thing. Something that we didn't know the day before. Because we should be constantly and ever growing. Constant and ever growing. Constant and ever growing. If you're constant and ever growing, you're learning. You're constantly learning. So every day I want to learn something that I didn't know the day before. And I'm not talking about the gossip and the latest. I'm talking about something that'll change my life, that'll change the way I think, that'll change the way I believe, or add to my life, or add to the way that I believe. Right? This is what we should strive to do. Now, there's freedom in forgiveness. There is freedom in forgiveness. Both ways, when you're forgiving others and when you're forgiving yourself. There's freedom in that. Do you realize when you hold... You going to the store? Okay, no problem. Do you realize when you hold on to anger, when you hold on to disappointment, when you hold on to those things, they have power over you. And more than likely, the person that caused that anger or caused that disappointment has power over you. When you forgive, right, you're taking back the power. You're taking it back. Even when you forgive yourself, you're taking back the power. Because here's the thing. When you are judging yourself or holding yourself to this high standard, or you are making yourself pay for something that you've done, you're beholden to that thing. And when you're beholden to something, you're not free totally. You're not totally free. Get free. Get free. Forgive yourself. Get free. Tell yourself you forgive yourself. Remember, be impeccable with your words. Tell yourself that you forgive yourself. Tell yourself that you're not your mistakes. You are not your mistakes. Tell yourself that you're not the problems that you may have. Encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. I would get up every morning if I were you, because this is what I do. And I look in the mirror and I talk to myself. I tell myself, I start off one way. Now, how I end up is different, but I start off one way. I say, hey, beautiful black girl with the beautiful smile, with a big smile and an even bigger name. That's how I start off. I encourage myself. I encourage myself. Encourage yourself. Do not let your past judge you. Do not let your past hold you in shackles. Get free. Forgive yourself more than anything, and forgive others. Get free. Okay? From forgiveness comes the strength for action. See, you get to reshape your reality. Now, action, dissolving and shaping your dreams. I didn't say forget. I said forgive. There is a difference. I did not say forget. I said forgive. You don't have to forget. Just forgive and keep it pushing. Don't let it happen again. That's all, Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I still believe that one. Okay? So not only visualizing your dreams or your behaviors, but putting them into action, right? Put what you've learned about awareness and forgiveness into practice. Put it into practice. You have to do it. Right? Saying it, knowing it, and doing it is different. You have to do it. Put it into action. When you learn something, a lot of the things we learn, we don't retain, or something has to happen for that memory to come up because we don't utilize it. It's like muscle memory, right? You forget things, right? And it's the repetitive motion of doing things that causes you to remember those things, right? This is why I said I get up with words of affirmation and encouraging myself. I have to. Listen, how good are we for anyone else or to anyone else if we're not good to ourselves? How good can we be? Right? When you don't take care of yourself, and I suffered this, I did this. It was in 2014. In 2014, I was not physically living in the same house as my husband. We were married on paper. We were not physically in the same house. In 2014, I moved out 2013. February 2014, he had a stroke. Okay. We took care of him, whatever. March 2014, he had a stroke. Okay. We took care of him, everything right. June, he had a stroke. I moved back in, right? Separate rooms, but I moved back in to help him take care of his health. Now, at the same exact time, I had been suffering what had been diagnosed as a migraine. And I have been suffering that migraine from 2013, and they were just treating the migraine. I had some scans done and everything, and they were just treating the migraine. But the migraine never went away. The only thing that changed in the migraine was the intensity of the pain. Either it was super intense or it was just there, like dull, but there. It never went away. For months, it never went away. So I went to the hospital and they took a scan. And they said, oh, you have a sinus infection. So sinus infections are treated with medication. Treat the sinus infection. Headache still never goes away. Seeing the neurologist for the migraines, he has all this medication that he wants to put me on and all this stuff. Now, meanwhile, X is still at home suffering because he's had 3 strokes now, right? 3 strokes in a 6-month period. So, and I'm going through this. He has to see like 5 different doctors. But I'm still going through what I'm going through. But I'm still keeping what he's going through, right? So, this is June. I was told in May that it was a mucus plug. And so I went to see an ENT because it was a mucus plug, right? So I go see this ENT, and the ENT tells me, okay, it can only be surgically removed. And what it is it's a pain in the eye and a headache. And so she explains what it's doing is no, sweetie, I don't go live with people that I don't know. That's not going to happen. So what it's doing is it's pushing the eye out of the socket because the mucus plug is dominant and it wants that space. So she's like, we're going to do surgery, whatever. My surgery is scheduled for June, late June. He has his stroke the day before my surgery is scheduled, that stroke in June. The day before my surgery is scheduled to remove this mucus plug. But what she tells me is, I need you the day before to go to the hospital and have slices taken. I want scans, but I want slices so I can see the best route to take out the mucus plug, right? So I go, once I get him settled, I go and I take the scans for my surgery. He's admitted. So now my plans have to change on how to get to the hospital, how to get from the hospital. All these things a lot of stuff has to change. So I get there 5 o'clock in the morning to have this surgery. I'm going to be admitted and all that afterwards. I get there 5 o'clock in the morning, and she looks at the scans. No, the radiologist is looking at the scans, and it's the assistant radiologist because the radiologist is on vacation in Hawaii. I can never forget this. So the assistant radiologist is scared. He's afraid because he thinks he sees something and he's not sure because the doctor has said it's a mucus plug and he's not sure. So he calls his boss who is on vacation in Hawaii and he's like, I need to send you something. I need you to take a look at this because I think I see something, but I'm not sure. So his boss confirms to him it is what he believes it is. So he tells the doctor, and the doctor comes in there and was like, well, but at the same time, the anesthesiologist is there talking to me. And telling me, this is what we're going to give you. This is how long you should be out, yada, yada, yada. And so the doctor is like, well, we're not going to do surgery today. But I need you to leave here. And I lived in California at the time. I need you to leave here and head on down to UCLA. Because you need to see a neurosurgeon. We can't diagnose you with brain cancer, but you do have a tumor. So what was believed to be a mucus plug was a tumor. And then they proceed to explain to me, had they done the surgery that she wanted to do, I would have died because no neurosurgeon was on call and my brain fluid would have leaked because once she removed it, she wouldn't have been able to stop the fluid. And she was an ENT, not a neurosurgeon. So, yeah. I'm telling you this for a reason. I'm not trying to share and invoke any emotions, but I'm telling you this, what happens to us, what we do to ourselves, how we lose ourselves, and we put ourselves on the back burner so many times. So I went, yes, it's a tumor. We need to remove it. Scheduled the surgery. Had the surgery. Let me tell you something. My ex and I have friends that we've had for 20 plus years, 30 plus years, went to grade school with. Then we had friends that we had together, right? Nobody knew that I had a brain tumor. Nobody knew what I was going through. I was so focused on him and his strokes that I wasn't even paying attention to my own health. I wasn't paying attention to my own health. I was being so strong for him and what he was going through that I was like letting myself just fall by the wayside. So when the surgery was scheduled, it came time to tell the children. I still didn't tell the friends. I told family what was going on. My sisters flew down to California. My auntie flew down to California. My brothers all lived in California. My cousins. Listen, this is when you know what you mean to people and what people feel about you. We had my family, ex at the time, he was my husband, ex. So my family, we had to have our own waiting room. I had like 30 people in the waiting room at a hospital while I'm having surgery. And that was just family because I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my friends. Yeah. Only my family knew, my kids, mother, brothers, sisters. And I had a cousin that knew, just one cousin, because he and I grew up like brother and sister. And if I didn't tell him, he'd have likely killed me. So, and it was weird because at the same time, remember, he's home, he having suffered 3 strokes. So it was like a lot going on, and I was still so worried and concerned about him that I was denying my own health. Yeah, people that are friends of the family didn't even realize we were cousins. They thought we were brother and sister. That's how close we were. They thought we were brother and sister, even to this day. Still to this day, since we were small children, we've been that close. And we lived in the house together, 3 separate occasions. My mother lived with his mother lived with my mother, and then he and I lived with our grandmother. So we ended up living in the same house. So we really grew up together. So we'll let go of what's happening to us to be something for somebody else, for someone else. We have to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. We have to put into action loving ourselves emphatically. There's nothing wrong with loving yourself. There's nothing wrong with even putting yourself first. And I know as parents, we have a lot of problems with putting ourselves first. We think that we are responsible to our kids and we owe our kids that, and we can't put ourselves before our kids. But here's what, let me put this as simple as I think I possibly can, right? If you're not taking care of yourself and you leave here today, who are your children going to have? Who is your child going to have? Whomever it is that may be leaning on you, who are they going to have if you leave here today? And especially if it's because you could have been taking care of yourself, but you kept putting yourself on the back burner to put them first. Who are they going to have? And no matter who they have, will they treat them like you treat them? Will they do for them what you do for them? Of course not. Put into action. Being awakened. Being awakened. Put it into action. Being impeccable with your words. Absolutely. Not taking anything personally. Not making any assumptions. And always doing your best. Put these things into action. Put them into action. Forgiving. Put it into action. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. Put yourself first. Because if you're not here or if you're not healthy, you're really no good to anyone. So you have to put yourself first. Listen, you want to be the best that you can be. Here's the truth about it. You can't become a doctor without having studied, going to school to be a doctor, logging the hours in the hospital. You can't be a doctor. I'm talking a medical doctor at this point. Having not done those things. You can't. Even as a shaman, as a medicine man, there's still study there. Things are passed down. You watch how things are done. You participate in how things are done. So you have to put it into actions. Do you know your actions or inactions can affect your success? Now, granted, success looks different to everyone. We don't all level success the same. Like I said, some people may just be happy with a high school diploma when it comes to education, if that. Some people don't have high school diplomas, but they have really good jobs, really good careers, or their own businesses. And they feel they're successful because that's how they measure success. Some people feel they have to have that degree, even if it's just a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. Some people feel they need the master's, right? No problem. No problem. Some people feel they need the master's, right? It's the way that they feel about success, not you, not how you measure their success. Measure your own success and stop comparing yourself or others to you. To that, you know, a lot of people that do that is to make themselves feel good because they need someone to be less than or to be doing less than them, right? So they do things like that. I didn't come on this app talking about my accomplishments. And I still don't talk about my accomplishments. Only when needed. Like, only when I have to do I talk about my accomplishments. Even when it comes to social justice. A lot of people think that I just started this. Like, I just became socially aware. I'm in a newspaper. I am not a pandemic activist. And my activism has not always been boots to the ground. My activism has also been giving back to my community. My activism has also been just giving back to people. I don't feel I need to prove that as long as I'm doing that. I don't feel I need to brag about my degrees. I don't feel that I need to brag about my status in school when I was in school. I don't feel I need to do that because I don't feel I need to prove anything when it comes to my accomplishments. And I feel that I don't need to prove anything when it comes to my accomplishments because my accomplishments were for me. They were how I measured what I believe success is to me. Not what anybody else told me, not what anybody else thought about me. That is not how I measured my success. I said I wanted to go back to school and obtain my degree. I said I want my doctorate. I still mean that. I'm 6 classes away from my master's degree. The brain tumor is what threw me off track with school. When I took that time off to heal from the brain tumor, I never went back. When I left school, I needed 5 classes, but of course some things have changed, so now I'm 6 classes behind on the master's, and then it's on to the PhD, right? It's on to the doctorate. That's a personal, hey sweetie, I love you. That's my personal goal. That's not, I don't care what anyone else feels about success or if anyone else believes I'm successful because I'm doing those things or I want to do those things. That is a goal that I have set for myself, a personal goal that I have set for myself. I was making over $50 an hour with no degree. Having a degree was not about making money. It was a personal goal that I set for myself. I work at the dock union. You don't need a degree to do that. I worked on the steamship side and the terminal side. You don't need a degree to do that. Good money, good benefits. That was a personal goal that I set for myself. This is what we have to learn to do. Care about ourselves. Set the goals for ourselves. That's what we have to learn to do. Now, I'm not telling you can't care about others. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying care about yourself more than. Don't let what others think about you cause you to make decisions, unnecessary decisions, and to change you. Now, if you have someone that you have a relationship with and you guys do this where you take the corrective criticism and things like that, that's different. You have a relationship with that person. That's different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the world. The world judges us. And as a black woman, I'm judged for being A, a woman, and B, black, right? I'm judged just for those things. Before I open my mouth, a lot of people have cast judgment. Before I open my mouth. If I was so weak that I allowed the judgment that people cast is not, I like that one. What others think about me is none of my business. You could get off track too. That's how you get off track, and you start living the life that someone else wanted for you. We see this with children all the time. We see children in these careers that they had no interest in and they don't want to do it at all, right? But the parents have instilled this in them, or it's the family business, and they go and they do this thing and they don't want to do it. And they're miserable as hell. Don't do that to yourself. And if you've been doing that to yourself, it's time to make a change. Make the change. You're never too old to learn. You're never too old to change. You're never too old to reinvent yourself. Nor are you ever too young. Do what makes you happy, so long as it's not causing someone else pain, right? And I'm not talking about somebody with hurt feelings. Fuck hurt feelings. Take your hurt feelings somewhere else. I'm not talking about hurt feelings. What you're doing is not causing anybody pain. What you're doing is not holding anybody else back because of you. You're doing it. Not talking about jealousy. Stop being so mindful of what other people may think about you or say about you, right? So I boiled all this down to mean this for me. And this is a book, and yes, I read the book. But me saying this is not to, make you read the book, but it is to make you think. A purpose-driven life. That's what we all need to live. A purpose-driven life. What is your purpose? There's a saying. Find me a person that's living in their purpose, and you never work a day in your life I know you. I'm not. What are you? Do you? What? Okay. Hey, how you doing?
All right, how you doing, Mama?
I'm good. What's
How
going
your day
on?
been?
Oh, awesome.
Another blessed day.
Awesome.
What you been up to today?
Oh, just talking about the four agreements.
Enlighten me, Mama.
Well, we're at the end of it, but it is on my page. It's just be impeccable with your words. Say what you mean what you say. Be careful what you say because karma, once it gets out in the universe, so you have to be careful with what you say. Don't take anything personally, right?
Right.
What people feel about you, what people say about you, how people act, that's their problem, not your problem. So we're not taking things personally. Don't make any assumptions. Have an open dialogue. Talk to people. Don't assume what people mean. Don't assume what people think. Ask the
Because at the
hard
last
questions.
day, and at the end of the day, God's the only one that could, only judgment that's gonna stand that affects you is God. People
Okay.
ain't got no hell or high water to put in you or put you in. We all fall short. We all go through things. We all sin and fall short. But you got to know how to live life. You got to know how to treat folks. You got to know how to do what you do when you do it the
I don't
right
know
way.
yet. I'll put it on my page. I'm answering a question in the comments. So, and then to always do your best. No matter what you do, always do your best. Your
Right.
best. No one should want more than your best from you. That's it. No
But
one
you
should
got to
want.
also look out for them ones that claim that they want the best for you, but not really looking or
But
showing
see,
they
yeah,
want
that's
best
see,
for
I'm
you.
not thinking about that though. I'm thinking about if I know that I'm doing my best and I'm communicating that I'm openly, honestly communicating that I'm doing my best. If that's not good enough for somebody, then I'm not good enough for them. And move on.
As long as you're doing it from the heart, nothing that's malice.
And that's it. That's all I got. That's all I have.
Where where you from, Mama?
California.
I'm from Alabama.
Oh, okay. Alabama. Bama in the house.
Country Hills, Alabama. You Baptist?
No. I used to be Christian. I used to be a pastor. I'm no longer Christian.
So
I am
what you?
spiritual.
Hold on. Baby, explain, please, explain to me what
Please
you.
explain. Okay, so if we really study the Bible,
Uh,
if we really study the concept of the Bible, if we really study the origin of the Bible, especially as Black people, we should not be Christian. We should not be Christian. So the Bible was first written at the Council of Nicene. I believe it was 259 or 320, something like that, right? First of
mm-hmm,
all, it was not inclusive. That's the original Bible, the Septuagint Bible that was written back then, Masoretic. Now, the King James Version of the Bible was written in the 1500s. Do you realize
uh-huh.
what was going on in the 1500s? It
I
was,
realize some of it.
yeah,
I say half of it, not most, but half.
the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, here's what you have to think about. The Bible itself, the Septuagint Bible, the original Bible, were different beliefs and practices taken and put together and edited. It was changed already. So by the time it became a Bible, it was already not what it was. And then it was being given to people that it wasn't even meant for. And then now you take the King James version of the Bible, and now
Mm-hmm.
it's been changed yet again. Now books have been excluded. Absolutely, the Dead Sea. Now books
Okay, so
have
let me
been
ask you
excluded. That's
this:
why I said it was taken from a lot of different things. That's a part of what it was taken from, the Dead Sea
do
Scrolls.
you believe we are the chosen people?
Black people?
Black people and Indians are the same. the first tribe
I
that really
don't.
come
Okay, so what we don't do is we don't call them that. We call them natives. We call them
native.
natives.
You
Just out of
believe in the
respect,
chosen
we call
people,
them
right?
natives. So, oh wow, who is that? Oh, you have to mute them first. Here we go with the craziness. So I believe everything originated in Africa, and I keep it on. I believe that's where everything originated. That's a part of my spiritual journey is to know
Okay.
that, right? And here's what I want you to understand. Christianity and biblical principles are based on whiteness. I wish people would realize Romans are white.
Hold on.
Christianity,
No.
yes.
Wait. Hold on.
A lot of people
What
like to
fact
say,
do
where
you
the white
have to
people at in the
support
New
that?
Testament? They're the Romans.
What
They are the
chapter?
Romans.
Hold on. Israelites are actually black people if you really want to go down the bloodline. You say Romans are right. What chapter do it say that? Because I mean, if you can
It
enlighten me
don't.
and teach me something, teach me because I want to be right when I speak on it.
It don't. Go read it. Go see. Stop looking in the Bible. Stop looking to the Bible for your every word, for your every historical fact. The Bible don't even outdate every book that's been written, even
True,
though
because
it
actually,
likes
to
to
be
say it's the
I
beginning of
question the
time.
Bible sometimes because you don't know who really wrote what because
Exactly.
we wasn't there. But
Exactly.
at the same time, I out of all that did say what was written that cohesive with what was said, you
Said
got
by
the
who?
question who lying and who telling the truth.
Said by
But then
who?
again, when you know him for yourself and it shows, then how can you not go on
But they
facts?
started in the 1500s, writing it in the late 1500s, the 1580s. And that's the
1580.
King James version of the Bible. The Septuagint Bible predates that. The Council of Nicene predates that. And that's
Do anybody know where
after
the original
that's
what they call them scrolls where
the
they
Dead
actually
Sea
wrote?
Scrolls. The
Did
Dead Sea
anybody ever
Scrolls.
find them or say anything that was actually? Can anybody dialogue what was actually written?
That's the
Cause I'm
thing.
curious.
It was all by men. So this is what I'll tell you. And if you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't. Go study the Septuagint Bible. Go study the Council of Nicene, Septuagint, and the Council of Nicene. Go study that. I'm here. This is my page. It'll be here. Right? Go study
Now
it.
I'm gonna do it because I'm a Baptist. I came up in the Baptist church, and I'm preacher grandchild, and I know God is real because I'm still here. Shouldn't be, but I'm still here. But it's some questions to some things that been said down through the years, done, and all that I got questions about, and I want to know the truth. Time out for playing with God. That's why we
You know
catch
where
so much
Do you
hell
know
on
where
this side
Baptist
now
came from?
because folks
Do you
playing
know
with
where
God.
Baptist came from? Do you know where Baptist came from?
I heard 6, 7 different stories how it came about, but until you show me
I
facts, I
want you to
can't
go to
really believe
Matthew. I
because too
want you to
much.
go to Matthew. I want you to go to Matthew. And I want you to realize in Matthew, 2 babies are going to be birthed.
What chapter?
Somebody really bored. You really bored, huh? This all you have better to do? And an accusation
Mama, we're
is
not going to
not.
take the negative. We're going to ignore that
No,
book.
not you. I'm talking about,
Matthew's what?
yeah.
I know.
So in Matthew, 2 babies are going to be burned. Can y'all please make sure you're muting before you're blocking because when you mute, the comment disappears. 2 babies are going to be born. John the Baptist and Jesus.
John the Baptist. John the Baptist baptized Jesus. Peter denied him.
John the Baptist is where Baptist church come from. It's where the Baptist church come
And
from.
see, I'm trying to be
So
good
how
right
can
now. I'm
you
trying to be good
follow?
right now.
Now
I'm
remember,
trying to be good right now. But
John the Baptist didn't want to baptize Jesus because he felt he wasn't worthy.
true.
He felt he wasn't worthy.
And we all feel that way sometimes. But when he put you in a position and a place, it's for a reason. We might not lean not to your understanding, but trust in my word, you'll understand later on.
Later on, when? What good is
When it's
understanding
meant
when you
for you.
die?
No, I ain't gonna say when you die. When
But a lot of times
time
that's what you're
permit.
told. A lot of times you're told the questions won't be answered until you die.
That was some of us was raised up on, but it's not really that. It when time permit, because you might not understand why what when happened at that point in time, but later on he'll let you know. He'll run you down
Will he let you
and
know,
let you
or
know
will
why.
you become enlightened and more self-aware and more aware?
Right. Lean not to your understanding, but trust in my word. I will never leave or forsake you.
See, that's
Some
a
folks fail to
biblical
realize
principle. I
God is
don't
not your
follow that
enemy.
belief.
God is with you and for you.
I don't follow that belief. That's a biblical principle. I used
So
to.
what do you believe in?
I'm spiritual. I believe in me. I believe in the God in me. I believe in the spirit in me. I believe in the energy that I put out.
Okay, who gives you that energy?
We're all energy. That's what we
Who
are.
wakes you up in
We're
the
all
morning?
energy. So you have nothing better to do. You just gonna keep coming, huh?
Block them.
They keep making fake pages coming back. That's why
And
it's
you
so
keep on
funny.
blocking. You don't let nobody steal your joy.
Hold on real quick.
Anybody come
Somebody
to
at my
your
door.
page with negative, you block
Give
them.
me a second. Sorry about that. So if you are a mod, are my mods, do I have any mods here? Because see, the answers to their questions are on my page, and if they really were interested, they would go and watch it. But since they don't want to go and watch it, I'm not gonna play that game with you. Take your bald head, ugly ass to the police. I already told you that. Not talking to you.
You know
And
what? Make me a mod, because I'm going to tell you. If they come disrespectful, if they come
I
ask
mean,
the same question, I'm
this
blocking
is
their ass
absolutely
instantly. We're not going to
ridiculous,
play
and
that
I'm not doing
back
it.
and
So
forth,
none of my
talking back
mods
side
are here
side.
right now. Let me make you a moderator. So what you're doing is you're muting them first, then blocking them, because when you mute them, their comments disappear. But if you want, you could you can now. If you want, you could
I
catch them
block them.
at the door.
If you can't come with respect and know how to talk,
I mean, this is ridiculous.
politician.
I'm not doing it though. I'm not doing it. We
I tell you, cat dad ain't gonna play with you. You come respectful and you have a conversation and know how to talk to folk. You come ratchet, you get ratchet blocked. Dad ain't gonna play.
I mean, okay. Like, just check at the door. Check them at the door because, hey, Toya, I'm glad you're here because now we got the
I
troll.
ain't gonna ask you one time.
Here they go again. I mean, you really have to be bored with your life to come in somebody's live on 20 different accounts and just keep coming back again and
You
keep,
know,
keep
there's
coming back
somebody you
again.
know.
I stress
If
you.
you
If
really,
I stress you out
if
that
somebody
much,
you know wanna
all
be
you
on
gotta do
your
is keep
nerves,
scrolling. Keep scrolling.
but
If
don't worry,
you
I
really
block the
have
shit out
those
their ass. Won't get no
questions,
damn.
there is a playlist on my page called The Lie. Take your time and go and watch the videos. Other than that, don't come over here with
If
that.
you can't, block gang is stronger than that. Yeah, we'll be blocking your ass. Play if you wanna. Come correct or be get the fuck on. But I'm gonna charge my phone and I'll be back, Angel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
I'll
So. I
follow you. Follow
appreciate
me back, honey.
it. Have a good day.
You too.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay, so we were pretty much finished anyway, like I was telling you guys, just a purpose driven life. Live a purpose driven life. When you live a purpose driven life, those trolls like those, the ones that was just here, they won't bother you. It takes a really desperate person that wants to do everything but the thing that needs to be done. Simple thing that can solve all this, that can answer all questions, but you want, your internet fame. So do your thing. For real, you want I can send some oh wow. Um I could send some emails for you. Was that which one was it? Tell me which one it was because I know this one says 6 and you had a 5. So which one was it? So I know which one to send. Yeah, absolutely. Just, look, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. You tried it. You tried to break me and it didn't work out for you. A purpose driven life, yeah. My whole entire family, we purchased the books and read the books together, but we were also reading with the church too. So it's a really good book. So number 5, okay, I'll write you some emails today. Don't worry about it. And if there are, screen recorders and all that, get a life. Get a life. Get a life. So I don't know what the next topic is going to be. I know it'll be mid-August. No problem. No problem at all. I know it'll be mid-August that I do this again. I'm not sure. Oh, that's awesome. That would be awesome. Do this one too, though. This is a book too. The 4 Agreements. That's a book too. Do this one too. It will be in August. Somebody gave me an idea. I'm not gonna put it out there because I'm not sure. Because when I come and I do this, I study before I do it. And for me to that's what we were talking about. That's what this live was about. It's a book though. It was written by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a good book too. It really is good. And so what I did though, I just took it and I applied it to my thought pattern and to my behavior. Wow. I applied it to my thought pattern and my behavior, and that's how what we were talking about today. That's what we were talking about. So it's good too. I believe it was written in 1997, 96, 97, one of those. So it's older than a Purpose Driven Life, but it's still a really good book. It's like, what, 10 years older? It's a really good book. But the next topic, I'll always put a post on my page and tell you when and what's going to be talked about. And if you have questions or if you want to read or something like that before then, so when you come to the live, you have questions or an idea or something like that, I'm good with talking about it. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Like I said, if you think I'm wrong when I'm saying something, just prove me wrong. And I don't mean that in a smart way. I mean, I will actually go and look at it. If you tell me, oh no, that's not what I got from that, and I'll go and I'll look at it. I'll consider it. And so that's how, instead of arguing about it, or making it a big deal, good way to live. Good way to live. Look, I appreciate you guys for being here. I thank you for the gifts. It's been 2 hours. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for your time, because I know the gifts you can get back, the time you cannot. So I thank you for your time. And until next time, you guys have a good one. And thank you guys for stepping up and modding. Where can you find a link for the books? Right now, Kindle is doing, I love you too, darling. Kindle is doing, oh yeah, that is that bitch boy Blaze. Get your ass out of here. Kindle is doing free. Doctor's appointment, I failed to go. They're doing some, I think for 30 days. So check and see if it's on Kindle so you don't have to purchase it. So you could read it for free if you don't mind audiobooks. That way you could read it for free. It's the troll, and I know who it is already, and he's second on the list. So it's okay. He'll get his due. So you already have it? Yeah, look for the 4 Agreements, A Purpose-Driven Life. Oh, and also How to Eat to Live. How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. Read that too. It's a good book too. Read it too. We were talking about that too, how much the food we consume affect our mental as well as our physical health. How to Eat to Live. Yep, by Elijah Muhammad. Okay, so until next time. Hello. Yes, thank you. I don't know you. That's the only reason why I didn't mod you. We're not even mutuals. Otherwise, I would have modded you. But because I don't want to mod the wrong person, I don't need no extra problems. You guys have a good one. Take care. Bye. Oh, no problem.